Hey friends, it's Brandy from West Georgia Mahjong. I wanted to talk to you today about differences in tiles. I've heard some people tell me recently that they're scared to use the fancier tiles because the makers have taken artistic license, if you will. But that artistic license is what drew me to the game. I love the tiles and the mats before I ever loved the game of Mahjong. So I wanted to go over with you some of the differences today so that you're prepared. One thing that I know is so important is when you host, you're excited. You're ready to have a party and you're ready to fellowship with your friends. And you never want to go to somebody's house and pick up a tile and be like, that's a dragon? How did they get a dragon out of that? Because people are proud of their sets. So let's go through some of the tiles today so that we can become familiar with what might be in a suit and what might be some of the tiles. I purchased many sets of Mahjong tiles with the intent of teaching. In purchasing the tiles, to begin with, I thought I needed to purchase sets that look very similar to each other. For instance, the Oh My Mahjong sunset tiles look very similar to the Oh My Mahjong Nantucket tiles. However, I love the difference that each tile set has. So I started purchasing some sets that look a little creative. With that, I decided I'm not going to put bars or limits on the creativity of the tiles. What we're going to do is go through each of the suits and then the winds and the jokers and the flowers to let you see what different tiles may look like. You'll be able to see the differences in the length and the width. You'll be able to see the differences in the actual design on the tile. So I've taken 6 tiles that I'd like to go through with you today. I want to introduce several different types of tiles to you. These tiles are in the crack suit. We first have these by My Fair Mahjong. They are little rocking chairs. Then we have the Park series by My Fair Mahjong. And if you notice, they are a lot flatter and they're a lot larger than the other sets we have. These babies are from Hobby Lobby. They're a $20 set of tiles from Hobby Lobby. Then we have these tiles, which are the sunset tiles from Oh My Mahjong, followed by the sorbet tiles from Oh My Mahjong, and last but not least, my favorite to go on any cruise or camping trip, my travel set from My Fair Mahjong. If you look at each of these tiles, they all have something in common, which is the characters, the Chinese characters, which we call cracks. Now, you might say, Brandy, I do not say cracks on those bigger tiles at the top. So when you're looking at them, you're always looking deep. So that has a crack beneath the seat. And as we move a little forward, you can see beneath the seat, they all have little cracks on them. And they're pink, which distinguishes them as part of the crack suit. The next tiles, you're like, Brandy, again, I do not see the cracks. So if you see right up here at the top of the Park series, they will have actual cracks on them as well. So if you see something and it looks abstract, you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I don't see it, or what is that, or who would create that? Just know that as long as it has a crack or a character on it in some place, it's going to be considered cracks. If you look over here, here is the red dragon as well as the red dragon. So those are the interpretations based on those suits. On the Hobby Lobby set, they are pretty self-explanatory. They all have cracks on them as well. If you notice, that's one line, one line, one line, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines. It goes in that order. And then over here, it has the traditional Mahjong red dragon, which is this symbol, which actually means middle. Next, we're going to go into the Oh My Mahjong sunset tiles. And again, very similar, very easy to distinguish. Now, they do give us a red dragon that is a doggy. I picked these because I like the dog. And that is my first set that I ever had, was that set. So the dogs are actually very easy to distinguish as a red dragon. The next set, or the sorbet set, they still keep in like the red color family, but they're not as easy to determine the 1, the 2, It's like 1, 2. It's not as easy, but then they give the cracks right there, and you can see it's the cracked dragon easy. And then my little babies down at the bottom, my travel set, it is the 1, the 2, the 3, and then they have the little red dragon on the bottom. So now let's move to the BAMs and see what we have there. As we learned in the previous video, when it comes to the suit of the BAMs, we always start off with a bird. And do you remember what we call it? One BAM bird. So you'll see the bird presented on each of these tiles, and then I'll show you a way to kind of remember the bamboo and making sure that you don't mix it up with others. So here again we have our one BAM bird for the My Fair Mahjong tile. This is the Southeastern series. And then if you look here, and this is what I try to remember on each one of them, there are 2 leaves to this weeping willow, or whatever kind of tree they are that it is. Then here we have 3 leaves coming down, 4. So on any set, no matter what type of set it is, I always know that there's going to be some kind of wooded tree or some kind of bamboo shoot, but you can actually count them on the tile. So for the My Park series, we do have one BAM bird, you see, and he does have 1 tree, and he is a bird. But then as we go out, that's 2 bamboo, 3 bamboo, and it goes up, count 6 bamboo, 9 bamboo, and then we have the dragon, the green dragon, that goes with the bamboo suit. On the traditional set from Hobby Lobby, we have one BAM bird, and it goes, now I'll tell you, I was a little confused the first time I ever saw these sets because they are very traditional, but that is your green dragon. Next, we're going to the sunset tiles from Oh My Mahjong. The bird, very easy to distinguish. Again, that's why I purchased that set to begin with. But if you look, there's 2, then there's 3 pieces of bamboo, 4 pieces of bamboo, and it goes along. Again, green dragons, just like the red dragons, are dogs, which I think is pretty cute. Then we're going to go to the sorbet set here. Again, you have a beautiful peacock over here as your bird. Bird could be any type of a bird. Then we have 2, you see 3, 4 pieces of bamboo, and it goes along. And then on these, it tells you very much that is a green dragon, which is also with the BAM suit. Then on my little babies at the bottom, you have the one BAM bird that has the 1 piece of bamboo, and you can count 2 up through the end with the green dragon at the end. We'll now go to the dot set. The hardest so far to distinguish was the cracks. The bamboo to me seems very easy to see the different bamboo pieces or the different leaves or branches coming from the trees. However, I will tell you that the dot set has thrown me for a loop more than one time. It has thrown me for a loop for different reasons. The Southeastern series up here threw me for a loop because usually when you have like the one BAM bird, you have the bigger bird on the tile. And so this one kind of threw me for a loop because it is more of a decoration on this tile right here. But this is a 1 dot. But then the pieces of ice in this series show me what the dots are. So that is a 4 dot because it's 4 pieces of ice. 7 dot because there's 7 pieces of ice. So it really makes sense, and it was neat because I like to play with the pretty tiles. And so to know, oh, that's really all it is the ice in the glass that makes your dots up, and that makes it kind of easy. We have the soap at the end, which is very distinguishable. Most of the soaps look alike. When we get to the park series, you could see these dots are represented by footprints of some sort. So we start here, and this one again was like, but it is a 1 dot. 1 footprint, but then we go and you've got like a 4 right here, and it's different types of footprints, which truly is actually pretty cute. So 4 footprints is 4 dots. You can see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you have your soap at the end. The Hobby Lobby set, pretty easy to determine. You have your 1 flower. Now this is where we get into a little confusion. If you look at this flower right here and you look at this flower right here, it is very easy to say, oh, I have a flower, because the flower is so big. So you have to really make sure you know your set, and you can say, oh, no, that's not a flower, that's a 1 dot. And again, some people are like, well, I don't want to play with that set because that flower looks, or that dot looks like a flower. But I don't want to hold back from playing from every suit, or every set I could actually ever play with, because I'm a fan of the different artistic license that people take with these sets. So Hobby Lobby set, very easy. You have 1 dot, 2 dots, all the way to 9. Your soap looks very normal. Oh My Mahjong sunset tiles. Again, that's the one that's confusing to people, but 1 dot, 2 dot, all the way to the end. You have a very fancy looking soap or white dragon. Then you come down here, the dots, you count the dots. That's how many's on them. Be careful, because I will tell you, playing with Sean before, I've done this. 6 dot. And so make sure you know where your numbers are. Most of the time the numbers are at the top, and know that that is actually 9 circles or 9 dots on that tile, so you keep them straight. And then at the bottom, my Travel Babies, very simple. It's the hearts, but there's really no way to mess those up. The winds usually are pretty easily to discriminate. They either say north, south, east, or west, or they'll have the N, E, W, or S initial. When you're looking for them and you're putting them on your rack, I like to put them in order of N, E, W, S, but I will go ahead and show you a few of them. So these are silverware for the Southeastern series. We have a road sign, kind of directions for the Park series. Very traditional for the Hobby Lobby series. And with that one, note, I would not know the difference in these if I did not have these letters up at the top. So do know that. For the Oh My Mahjong, the sunset tiles, they have the vases, but they also have the NEWS, as well as the sorbet tiles that actually have these little pointers. So if you're putting on there, it's pointing in the direction you should go. And then the same thing down here with the travel set is pointing north, east, south, and west. Probably my favorite tiles are the flowers. I think that the different companies make these look so beautiful, and I love them. There's really not a lot of ways to mess the flowers up. I will tell you, some companies do put the numbers, which is the traditional way to do them. However, some companies do not, but the flower is a flower. Just make sure, again, you don't mix a flower up with a 1 dot. I'll show you some of the different hand-painted pieces. So that's the Southeast series. This is so cute to me. This is the Park series. Then you have the traditional. Oh, I will say on the traditional set, they do have it where it's like spring, summer, fall, and winter, or autumn and winter. So that is very normal. At first I was like, oh my goodness, is that part of the wind somehow? But it's actually just the seasons. And you'll have 4 that have seasons and 4 that don't to make up your 8 flowers in those sets. Then you have hand-painted sets. These, that was the sunset. That's the sorbet. And then my little friends, my little cruising buddies, right there. I think they're beautiful. I love to see the different interpretations of a flower. Another one of my favorite tiles, especially on the brands that took the artistic license, are the jokers, and I'll show you why. On traditional sets, a lot of the jokers look alike. They're just different colors. But when you get to some of the more artistic sets like that, it's just cuteness. So that's a joker. This barbecue's a joker. And then you have the different tiles, different sets right there. One thing to note about jokers is that they'll always call themselves a joker. So you'll always know very well that those are the jokers. If you have fallen in love with any of these tiles today or are interested in the brands, we will actually have the links to these different sets posted in the description below. If there is a company that I have an affiliate link with, I'll post that promo code as well. We are so thankful that you have watched our video today, and we definitely want to field any questions that you have. We also hope that you are now a little bit excited to play with some different, very artistically licensed tiles. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more from West Georgia Mahjong. See you later.